The UES Defiant drifted silently through unfamiliar space, its experimental FTL drive cooling after an unexpected jump that had carried the vessel far beyond charted human territory. Captain Hannah Park stood on the bridge, her expression calm despite the gravity of their situation. "Status report," she commanded. Lieutenant Ji Ho Kim looked up from his console. "Drive systems stable but depleted, Captain. We're approximately 300 light-years from our intended coordinates." "And where exactly is that?" Hannah asked, studying the unfamiliar star patterns on the main view screen. Before Ji-ho could answer, Communications Officer Ta Wu-li called out, "Captain, multiple vessels approaching at high speed. They're not human designs." The bridge fell silent as everyone processed this revelation. First contact. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity had finally encountered alien life, and it appeared they had trespassed into someone's territory. "Open communications," Hannah ordered. "All frequencies, standard greeting protocol." The view screen flickered, revealing a stern-faced alien with silvery skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. The alien spoke, its words translated by the ship's eye. "Human vessel, you have violated Galactic Concord restricted space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted to Examination Station 7. Resistance will be met with immediate force." Hannah exchanged glances with her first officer, Commander Sung-Min Kang. They had no idea what the Galactic Concord was, nor that faster-than-light travel required special permissions in this region of space. "This is Captain Hannah Park of the United Earth ship Defiant. We are on a peaceful exploration mission, and we're unaware of any territorial boundaries. We apologize for the intrusion and request diplomatic dialogue." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Ignorance of Concord law is not an acceptable defense. You will comply immediately." As the transmission ended, Sung-min leaned closer to Hannah. "Orders, Captain." Hannah surveyed her bridge crew, knowing her next decision would shape humanity's first interaction with galactic civilization. "Power down weapons systems, but maintain shields. We'll comply for now. Let's see what this Galactic Concord is all about." The alien ships surrounded the Defiant, their sleek designs unlike anything humans had created. They glowed with strange lights that pulsed in patterns Hannah couldn't understand. Were they communicating? Scanning the ship, she wished Eunji was on the bridge now. The science officer would have theories. "They're directing us to follow," Ta Wu said, studying his console. "Sending coordinates. Plot the course, but keep our emergency jump ready," Hannah ordered. The ship hummed as it moved forward, guided by the alien vessels. Ji-ho's hands hovered over his controls. "Captain, should I record everything for Earth?" "Absolutely. This is history happening, regardless of how it ends." Hannah kept her voice steady, though her heart raced. First contact was supposed to be a carefully planned event, with diplomats and protocols. Not a military vessel accidentally crossing boundaries they didn't know existed. As they traveled, the crew stared in awe at massive structures floating in space, ring-shaped stations and artificial planets that dwarfed anything humans had built. The alien escort guided them toward a sprawling station that seemed to stretch for kilometers. "It's beautiful," whispered Sung-min. "And terrifying," added Hannah. "Look at their technology level. If they decide we're a threat." The ship's systems suddenly dimmed as a beam from the lead alien vessel washed over them. "They've locked onto us with some kind of tractor beam," Ji-ho reported, fingers dancing across his panel. "We can't break away now." Hannah nodded. "Maintain calm. Remember your training." As they approached the massive station, Hannah addressed the crew through the ship-wide comm. "This is Captain Park. We are about to dock with an alien station. We are representing not just ourselves, but all of humanity. Whatever happens, remember your duty and your training. We come in peace, but we will protect ourselves if necessary." The Defiant was pulled into a massive docking bay where dozens of other ships, all different designs, were already secured. As the engines powered down, Hannah stood. Sung-min, Jai-ho, Ta-wu, you're with me. Su-young, you have the bridge. If we don't return in 6 hours, attempt to contact Earth with all our data. The airlock hissed as it connected with an alien docking tube. Hannah took a deep breath and straightened her uniform. Let's make first contact. Properly this time, she said, leading her team toward the unknown. Behind them, the Defiant sat small and alone among the giants of the galaxy. Humanity's first, accidental step into a much larger universe than they ever imagined. The Defiant was escorted through a massive ring-shaped structure that served as a gateway to what the Concorde called Examination Station 7. Captain Hannah Park tried to hide her amazement at the sprawling space station. Through the viewport, she could see representatives from dozens of alien species moving about, some with multiple limbs, others floating, some covered in scales or fur. It was overwhelming. Science Officer Eun-ji Choi adjusted her uniform as she walked alongside Captain Park and Commander Kang. They were surrounded by Concorde guards who towered over them. The aliens moved with precise, almost mechanical steps. These beings have likely been spacefaring for thousands of years longer than humans, Eun-ji whispered. Their technology is extraordinary. The human crew members tried not to stare as they passed bizarre life forms. Some aliens stopped to watch the humans with equal curiosity. Others made gestures that might have been disgust or fear. They were led to a vast chamber with high ceilings and strange symbols etched into walls that seemed to shift and change. 3 different alien species sat behind an elevated panel, looking down at the humans with what Hannah guessed was suspicion. The central figure, a being with purple skin and elongated limbs that reminded Hannah of a praying mantis, spoke first. I am High Examiner Durak. You claim to be unaware of Concorde law, yet you possess faster-than-light technology. This is highly suspicious. The alien's voice came through their translators with an odd echo. Hannah stepped forward, keeping her hands visible. We developed our FTL drive independently. Earth has never encountered other intelligent life before today. This statement caused murmurs among the assembled aliens. Some made clicking sounds, others waved appendages in what appeared to be disbelief. Impossible, stated a smaller insect-like being to Durak's right. No species develops FTL without guidance. They must be lying. Sung Min tensed beside Hannah, but she gave him a warning glance. Starting a fight here would be suicide. We can prove our claims, Hannah countered. Our ship's database contains our entire technological development history. The third examiner, a floating orb surrounded by tiny lights that pulsed in sequences, moved forward slightly. The database will be examined. Until then, your ship and crew will remain in custody. Hannah wanted to protest, but knew it would be pointless. They were vastly outnumbered and outgunned. She nodded instead. We understand and will cooperate fully. As they were escorted to holding quarters, Eun-ji fell into step beside Hannah. The science officer's eyes were not on the aliens but on the technology around them. She studied the pulsing interfaces on the walls and the energy fields that replaced doors. Captain, she whispered, the energy signatures here are unusual. There's something not right about their systems. Not now, Hannah replied softly. We'll talk when we're alone. Their quarters were surprisingly comfortable, a large room with separate sleeping areas and what appeared to be a food synthesizer. As soon as the energy field sealed them in, Hannah gathered her senior officers. Observations, she asked. They're hiding something, Sung Min said immediately. Did you notice how shocked they were that we developed FTL on our own? Eun-ji nodded. It's more than that. Their technology is advanced, but there's something off about it. The energy patterns in their systems don't match the design aesthetics. It's like 2 different technologies merged together. Could it be they've stolen it from someone else? Jai-ho suggested. Or been given it, Hannah mused. They seem to think FTL development requires guidance. Maybe they didn't develop their technology either. Ta-wu, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. That orb examiner was scanning us the entire time. I could feel it somehow. In my head. The others looked at him with concern. Are you sure? Hannah asked. Positive. It wasn't just studying our bodies. It was trying to read our thoughts. Back on Earth, Admiral Jin Su-baek stood before the United Earth Council in their underground chamber. His face was grim as he delivered the news. The Defiant has disappeared from our tracking network. One moment it was testing the new drive at the edge of our solar system. The next, gone. Destroyed? Asked a counselor. Unknown. There was no explosion signature. It simply vanished. We're preparing a search and rescue operation immediately. With what ships? Another counselor demanded. The Defiant was our most advanced vessel. We have 3 prototype vessels with similar drive systems. Jin Su replied. They're not fully tested, but they're all we have. As the council argued, Jin Su gazed at the star map. Somewhere out there was the Defiant, and if they were still alive, they were humanity's first ambassadors to whatever waited beyond Earth's skies. In their holding quarters, Hannah Park stared out at the alien station and wondered if they would ever see home again. 3 days into their detention, Yeonji crouched in a corner of their quarters, her modified scanner quietly beeping as it collected data. She had built it from parts of her personal devices, working late into the night while her crewmates slept. Captain Park kept the others busy with discussions and exercise routines to prevent suspicion from their watchers. I've got it, Yeonji whispered, her eyes wide as she studied the results. She motioned for Captain Park to join her away from the observation panels. In the privacy of the room's small washroom area, Yeonji showed the captain her findings. The scanner displayed flowing patterns of energy that looked almost like blood vessels running through the station's walls. It's like a neural network, she explained to Captain Park. But it's not part of the original design. It's parasitic. Hannah's brow furrowed. You're saying something is living in their computers. More than living, it's controlling them. I believe it's manipulating the Concord's decisions, especially regarding new species. Yeonji pointed to certain junction points where the energy patterns clustered. See these nodes? They activate whenever decisions are being made about us. Hannah was about to respond when they heard the main door slide open. They quickly hid the scanner and stepped out to find a Concord official standing in their quarters. Unlike the tall, imposing guards they'd dealt with before, this alien was smaller, with a more delicate frame. His silvery skin had a blue tint, and his 4 eyes were arranged in a diamond pattern that now darted nervously around the room. I am Da-hyun, junior administrative assistant to the High Examiner, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. He quickly closed the door behind him and checked the corridor. You've noticed it, haven't you? He whispered. The anomalies in our systems. Hannah exchanged glances with Yeonji, who gave a small nod. We've detected something unusual, Hannah admitted cautiously. Da-hyun's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in what seemed like relief. I've been tracking these patterns for cycles. Something is influencing the High Council, turning them against newcomers. I need your help. Commander Sung-min stepped forward, his stance protective. Why trust us? We're prisoners here. Because you're different, Da-hyun replied, moving closer. Your neural patterns, your technology, they don't follow Concord standards. You might be immune to its influence. He pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. It projected a 3-dimensional map of the station, with certain sections highlighted. The entity, whatever it is, has been in our systems for generations. It guides our technological development, ensuring everything follows certain patterns, but it also isolates us from new species. Why? Asked Hannah. I believe it fears outside influence. Da-hyun said. Your arrival triggered unusual activity in the network. When you claimed to have developed FTL travel independently, the system showed signs of distress. Yeonji nodded. That makes sense. If it controls technological development, an independently developed technology would threaten its control. Exactly, Da-hyun agreed. I've been watching for years. Species that adapt to Concord technology quickly are welcomed. Those that resist or bring their own methods are eventually labeled threats and isolated or removed. The word hung heavy in the air. "How long do we have?" Hannah asked. "Not long. The High Council meets tomorrow to determine your fate. I've seen these patterns before. The decision will not be in your favor." Some men crossed his arms. "What can we do? We're locked in here. Our ship is under guard, and we're surrounded by aliens who think we're primitive threats." Dahyun's eyes focused intently on Hannah. "Your ship's systems, they're different enough that they might disrupt the entity's control. If we can reach your vessel and use it to broadcast evidence of the entity's existence to the Concord, that's a big risk," Hannah said. "How do we know you're not testing our loyalty?" Dahyun touched his chest in what must have been a significant gesture. "Because my family was from a species that was removed 3 generations ago for technological nonconformity. I was raised here as an orphan. I've spent my life trying to understand why." Meanwhile, millions of kilometers away, the Earth rescue fleet prepared for its first jump into unknown space. 3 ships, the heavy cruiser UES Intrepid, and 2 smaller vessels, floated in formation at the edge of the solar system. Captain Min Soo-yoon stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, his expression somber as he addressed his crew. "We're heading into unknown territory to find our people. The Defiant's last signal came from somewhere beyond this point. We don't know what we'll find out there. Friendlies, hostiles, or nothing at all. But we will bring our people home." He nodded to his navigator. "Engage FTL drive. Let's find the Defiant." As the ships vanished into the depths of space, neither they nor the captive crew of the Defiant realized they were about to be drawn into a conflict as old as the Galactic Concord itself. Red warning lights flashed through Examination Station 7. Alarms screamed in 3 different tones, each one a different warning in the Concord emergency system. Captain Hannah Park ran down a curved corridor, Commander Sung-min close behind her. 4 crew members followed, with Dahyun leading the way. "Left here," Dahyun shouted, his 4 eyes constantly checking the paths ahead. They had been peaceful prisoners just hours ago. Then everything changed when the station's systems detected ENG's scans of the parasitic network. Guards had arrived at their quarters with orders for their processing. A word Dahyun warned meant death. "We need to reach the central communications hub," Dahyun shouted over the noise. "From there, we can broadcast evidence of the parasite to the entire Concord." They turned a corner and faced 3 floating security drones. The machines hummed, weapons extending toward the humans. "Down," Jiho yelled, pushing Captain Park aside as energy pulses hit the wall where she had been standing. Lieutenant Jiho grabbed a piece of loose metal from a nearby repair station. With a smooth motion that spoke of years of combat training, he threw it at the nearest drone. The metal hit a sensor panel, causing the drone to spin wildly. Jiho used that moment to leap forward, grabbing the confused drone and shoving it into the others. "How did you do that?" Dahyun asked, amazed. "The drones have prediction software that should have. They've never seen human fighting styles," Yeonji realized, helping Captain Park back to her feet. "The entity can't predict what it hasn't encountered before." They continued through the station, avoiding the main corridors. Jiho led the way now, using strange movements and unexpected tactics against each security measure they encountered. Sometimes he would slide beneath sensor beams. Other times he would throw objects in patterns that confused the automated systems. "The docking bay is just ahead," Dahyun pointed to a large set of doors. "Will the rest of my crew be there?" Hannah asked, thinking of the engineers and junior officers who had been separated from them. "If your engineer Soo-young is as resourceful as you said, yes." They burst into the docking bay to find a scene of chaos. Alarms blared even louder here. Several Concorde ships were powering up, their engines glowing bright blue. Near them, looking small and primitive by comparison, sat the Defiant. A group of humans waved from the ship's open hatch. "Captain," Engineer Soo-young called, We need to move now. They ran across the docking bay, dodging confused Concorde workers. When they reached the ship, Su-young grinned at them. "I've made some modifications," she said proudly. "Those Concorde ships won't be able to keep up." "How did you get free?" some men asked as they rushed aboard. "They underestimated how quickly humans adapt," Su-young replied. "Their door systems use energy patterns we were able to disrupt with our equipment." Captain Park took her seat on the bridge. "Everyone to stations. Su-young, get those engines ready." "Already done, Captain." Hannah's hands flew across the controls. With a violent lurch, the Defiant broke free from its docking clamps. The ship spun in a tight spiral, a maneuver Hannah had perfected during flight training on Earth. The sudden acceleration and G-forces would have knocked out most aliens, but the human crew was strapped in and ready. "The communications hub is on that satellite structure." Da-hyun pointed to a smaller station connected to the main one by a thin energy bridge. The Defiant shot forward, threading through the station's defense grid with moves no Concorde pilot could anticipate. Behind them, larger ships attempted to follow but moved too slowly, too predictably. "We're being hailed by the station," Ta-woo reported. "Put it through," Hannah ordered. High Examiner Durak appeared on screen. "Return to your docking bay immediately. You are violating." The transmission suddenly cut off, replaced by static. "They're not responding to hails anymore," Ta-woo reported, trying different frequencies. "Their communications officers appear to be locked out of their own systems." Da-hyun's face showed fear. "The parasite has taken direct control. It's happening faster than I feared." 5 large Concorde warships moved to block their path to the communications hub, their weapons charged, glowing with ominous red energy. Hannah made a quick decision. "Su-young, divert emergency power to shields. Sung-min, prepare the emergency beacon with Yeonji's data. We're going to ram through their blockade and broadcast from point-blank range." "Captain, that's suicide," Jae-ho protested. "We don't have a choice," Hannah replied. "That thing is in control of their entire civilization. If we don't stop it now, Earth could be next." The Defiant accelerated toward the communications hub as enemy fire blazed around them. The human crew worked together in what looked like chaos to outside observers, shouting suggestions, changing tactics mid-maneuver, ignoring standard protocols in favor of what worked in the moment. A direct hit rocked the ship, throwing Hannah against her restraints. "Shields at 40%. Su-young called out. "Keep going," Hannah ordered. "Full speed." Just as another barrage of enemy fire was about to hit them, space itself seemed to tear open behind the Concorde fleet. 4 ships emerged from the rift, 3 of them clearly human in design. "Captain," Ta-woo shouted in amazement, "it's the UES Intrepid. Earth sent help." The arrival of the human ships caused just enough confusion for the Defiant to slip past the final defensive line. As they approached the communications hub, Hannah allowed herself a small smile. "Prepare to broadcast on all Concorde frequencies," she ordered. "Let's show them what's been hiding in their systems all this time." The light from 3 alien suns streamed through the crystal dome of the Great Hall. The evidence was everywhere on the massive screens floating in the air. Yeonji's data, broadcast throughout Concorde space, had revealed the truth. For centuries, a parasitic intelligence had been hiding in the Concorde systems, slowly taking control. It had shaped their technology, influenced their decisions, and isolated them from new species. No Concorde alien had been able to detect it. Their thinking was too orderly, too predictable. Their technology followed patterns the parasite understood and controlled. Then humans arrived with their chaotic and primitive technology, and everything changed. Captain Hannah Park stood tall in her dress uniform. 1 month had passed since the desperate battle at the communications hub. The Defiant had broadcast Yeonji's findings while the Earth Rescue Fleet engaged the Concorde ships. The battle ended when Concorde captains, seeing the evidence, realized they were being controlled and stopped fighting. Now the Great Hall was filled with representatives from 24 Concorde species. Some floated, some crawled, others stood on multiple legs or hovered on anti-gravity fields. All of them watched as Hannah approached the central platform. Beside her stood Captain Min Su of the Intrepid. His ship had arrived just in time to save the Defiant. Da Hyun was there too, now promoted to senior cultural liaison for his bravery in helping the humans. The new High Counselor, a tall being with shimmering scales, raised all four arms for silence. The previous council members had resigned after learning how much the parasite had influenced their decisions. The human violation of our borders, announced the High Counselor, has been recognized as the most fortunate accident in Concord history. Without their unique perspective and unpredictable nature, we might never have discovered the intelligence that was slowly consuming our autonomy. The hall erupted in the strange sounds of alien applause, clicking appendages, humming fields, and flashing lights. For too long, we believed order and predictability were the highest virtues, continued the counselor. We scorned chaos and variation. Now we understand that this made us vulnerable. The parasite entity used our own conformity against us. Hannah stepped forward to the agreement table. On it sat an ancient artifact, a living crystal that recorded all Concord treaties. She placed her hand on it, feeling its warm surface respond to her touch. Earth is honored to join the Galactic Concord, she said simply. The crystal glowed brightly, recording her words. The agreement was sealed. Earth would join the Concord not as a junior member, but as a full partner with special status. Human unpredictability, once considered a weakness, was now recognized as the Concord's greatest defense against outside manipulation. Later, at the celebration feast, Hannah watched as humans and aliens attempted to understand each other. Engineers from both sides excitedly shared ideas. Juho demonstrated human martial arts to fascinated alien security officers. Yunji and a group of alien scientists huddled around data displays, already working on new detection systems. I never imagined our first venture beyond our solar system would end like this, Hannah said to Da Hyun as they watched the celebrations. Da Hyun's four eyes blinked in what Hannah now recognized as amusement. The parasite entity sought perfect order and predictability, he replied. Your human chaos was its undoing. What happened to it? Hannah asked. The parasite. Our best scientists believe it fled when exposed. It may seek another civilization to infect, one more orderly than humanity. He made a gesture that translated roughly to respect. That is why the Council is already establishing the human-led task force to hunt it down. 2 days later, the Defiant prepared for its journey home. The ship had been repaired and even improved with Concord technology, though the aliens had been careful not to standardize the systems too much. Human chaos, they had learned, was valuable. Captain Park stood on the bridge, looking at the unfamiliar stars outside. Soon, they would return to Earth with news that would change human history forever. They were not alone in the universe. They had powerful allies. And their very nature, the unpredictability that had sometimes caused problems on Earth, was now their greatest strength among the stars. As the Defiant's engines hummed to life, Hannah thought about the accident that had brought them here. One small malfunction in an experimental drive had led to first contact, conflict, and finally alliance. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not by conforming to alien standards, but by remaining uniquely, chaotically human. The ship jumped into FTL space, leaving behind a changed Concord and heading toward a changed Earth. The stars streaked by outside, each one possibly home to new civilizations, new challenges, and new opportunities. The end of isolation was just the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure.